Welcome back to my Primo project. Today I'm going to be setting up MVVM with Caliburn.Micro. So for anyone who's unfamiliar with what MVVM is, here's just a general idea of the breakdown. Just a bit of heads up, this isn't something that I am very familiar with. I'm still learning about it myself, but I think I understand the concept of it in a general sense. So what is MVVM? So MVVM, it stands for Model, View, View Model. So each one of those things is their own, that they're entirely separate. So models are your data objects. So if you've got an application that allows you to view and manage information about people, your object that's containing that information about people will go with your models. Got your views, and they are your visuals. They are just your UI. Your UI, quite often when you're doing WPF or Windows Forms, or any other kind of UI program that isn't MVVM, or I mean, there's some other frameworks that don't do that, but quite oftentimes you'll have your view, and then you'll have your code behind that. What MVVM does is it separates them out. So view will be just your UI, so it'll be like your XAML file, your markup, and then you've got view model. So view models are your code that makes your UI do stuff effectively. So if you want a button to do something, usually with WPF, you'd create the object in your view model, sorry, in your XAML. You'll give it an on click, and then when you like an on click attribute, and then when you go into, and then in your code behind, so in your XAML.cs file, you'll then type out the event handler. MVVM, you don't do that. MVVM, if you're not using a framework to do it yourself, then that does it for you even, then you just redirect the output from the event from your code behind into your view model. But Caliburn.Micro, which is what I'll be implementing today, does that for you. There's a little bit of backend that you got to do to set it up, but it's really minuscule, and it's really simple. So let's hop into the code now, and with my project open. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to add in Caliburn.Micro, which was the package that I'm going to be using to do MVVM. So I'm going to just go into a new package manager and searching Caliban. So it's this top one here that I'm going to want, using the latest version, so 3.2. And then I'm just going to click install. It's going to do its thing. Cool, and it's installed. So I can close that off now. So I'm just going to do a bit of housekeeping. So first of all, I'm just going to create a folder for each of the items in MVVM. So models, views, view models. So models, add, new, views, add, new folder, view models. So when you're using this Caliburn.Micro, you're going to have to make sure you name them that exactly. Nothing different, nothing alternative. These exactly, because that's what Caliburn.Micro is going to be looking for. Next up, I'm going to have to delete this one. So we don't actually need main window.xaml because when we actually implement this, that there isn't going to be used in it. We're not going to be using that at all. So I'm just going to delete that. Boom. So now I've got to go into app.xaml, and there's something that I'm going to have to add. So let's create another resource dictionary within our merged dictionaries underneath this one. And then I'm going to set something up that we're then going to implement in just a second. So we're going to be having a class called bootstrapper. So that is something that Caliburn.Micro is looking for. So we're going to create a local bootstrapper. So for anyone that's unaware, if you want to put a class or an object from that you've got in your application into your app.xaml resources, you just create you just reference the local. So if you look, that's just referencing this here. Okay, so local, I'm going to create a bootstrapper, and we've got our key, so x key equals bootstrapper lower caps, because that is what Caliburn.Micro is going to be looking for. That key there, bootstrapper, all lowercase, and I'm just going to close that tag up. So as you can see, it's looking for bootstrapper, it can't find it. So I'm going to save that, close this, we're done with app.xaml for now. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually going to create that bootstrapper file. So add class, go make sure it's a class, and just going to type in bootstrapper. Click add. So it's created this bootstrapper file, and I'm just going to make it public. So what this would mean is it can be accessed from anywhere, and you know you don't have to access it, just makes it available to the program. So first thing I'm going to do is make the constructor for it. I'm just going to type in initialize. No. Wait a second. First of all, I just have to make it inherit from bootstrapper base. So bootstrapper base is a class that you get from Caliburn.Micro. So if I just type in bootstrapper base, there we go. And what it's going to do is it's going to add that reference here, Caliburn.Micro. See? So now I should be able to just type in initialize, open close brackets, semicolon. So what that'll do is when it creates the bootstrapper, it will initialize Caliban.Micro and it will make it do its magic. Then I'm going to have to override a function of the bootstrapper base. So to do that, I'm just going to type in protected override on startup. Okay, so that's missing a reference there. So to fix that, I'm just going to click Control dot, so Control period, and it's going to be using system.windows. Boom. Then I'm going to get rid of this here, and then I'm going to type in display root 4, and we're going to be wanting it to do this one here with the open and close. I'm not sure what they call the pointy brackets. I know they have got a name, For the life of me, can't remember what they're called. And we're going to call this login view. This name, we haven't assigned this name to anything yet, but we will do. So login view, open, close the brackets, semicolon. So that is the base bootstrapper setup. So this method here is just what happens when the application is started, or well, when this initialize method gets round to calling on startup, then it will start up. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to create a file. Sorry, no, not view model. So what this will do is it will display the associated route, that it will display the view that's associated with this view model. So the way Caliburn.Micro works is it creates associations between named things. So really, the thing that I'm going to be creating is the login. Okay, so what it does is it looks at that bit there, login, and it goes, right, now we're looking for a view model that's called login. So we go on here, click on view models, right click, add class. So the way that the naming system works is if you're creating a model, call it, end it in, well, there's no specific naming convention for models other than the basic ones, but for views and view models it's very important because they are baked into Caliburn.Micro. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create that login view model. So login view model, and we're going to be creating that as a class. Okay, not as a window, not as a page, not as a user control, because they are their own things. Because like I said before, the view model is just the behavior. So login view model as a class, click add. So again, I'm just going to make this public so it can be accessed outside of this file. And then I don't actually technically need to do anything else here other than inherit it from string, which is something that you get from Caliburn.Micro. So that just means that this view model is referencing just a single string. There's nothing going to be going into it, no pages, no anything. It's just going to be the single screen. So I don't need to do anything else with this view model here because Caliburn.Micro is smart and does it all for me. But as you can see, I've still got this squiggly line here. There's still this error here. So that's because rather than being inside of the namespace personal planner, it's under the namespace personal planner.viewModels. So I'm going to have a reference to that. So quick and easy way to do that is just click Control full stop or Control period and then press enter. And voila, there's now no longer that error. But if I was to just try to run this, well, there's no UI and it's going to run into an error. Okay, because there was nothing associated to no, that's a different error. I think that was because, yeah, I forgot to remove this startup URI. Okay, so because all of that startup is being handled by this bootstrapper, that actually doesn't matter anymore. So I can get rid of that. So close that off, close that, we don't need them anymore. Next thing I've got to do is create my view that's associated with login view model. So I'm going to click on views, right click, add, and this is where I want to add my window. Okay, because again, this is the actual UI that we're going to be designing and implementing. So click on window, and again, we're going to go by the same naming convention. So login view, okay, because it's a view. So all your view models are going to end with view model. All your views are going to end in view. And because we are associating it with login view model, we're going to call it login view. So if you want to name it login window, it's not going to work. If you want to call it login page, it's not going to work. It has to be called login view. Otherwise, Caliburn is just not going to know what to look for. So login view, click add, and now this will work. Off the bat, don't need to change anything. So if I were to run this now, we've got a window. So that seems like a lot of work to get the same thing. And it is. You're very right. It is. But the reason that this is so powerful is because it means that you can just do testing on your behaviors without actually needing the UI. But you could just call code from there to see whether it works. So say you were into unit testing, which is a topic that I don't know too much about. In fact, I know nothing about. But from what I've done in my research is MVVM allows you to run unit tests on your code, because otherwise, with your usual setup, you actually need to use the application to test it. So we've got that, and I'm going to do just one more thing, just so we're set up for the next episode, and that is I'm just going to also create another view and view model, just so that we've got it set up, ready to go. So I'm going to add a new class. It's also just so you can see me do it again and show you that nothing gets confused. So we're going to be creating root view model, add, go inherit it from screen. I might change this later. It depends how I want to implement my screen. So it depends how much I want to. There's loads of fancy stuff, and there is, if you want to put, say, something within, like a container for another thing inside of root view model, then you're gonna want to change that. But for the time being, I'm just going to put screen, and then I'm just going to create the associated view. So add window and root view add. Next time I'm going to be showing you my designs for my login page, and we're actually going to start to do some proper code, what you actually you came here to see. So I'm going to be creating the login page UI, and probably just UI, and maybe adding in your basic behaviors. I'm not going to be implementing the actual login parts just yet, just because I want to get my UI set up before I start doing any hard coding, hard CS, as well as the fact that I also need a database for me to allow you to actually sign in, which I'm still need to work out some of the data. In fact, I may even do that with you on video, just so you can see the process that I use, which is probably not best practice, and there's probably much more efficient way of doing it. But like I said before, I am still technically I'm just a hobbyist programmer. So, like I said, that's it for this video. If you liked what you saw, and want to keep up to date on my progress, then consider giving me a like, a subscribe, and keep clicking on the bell icon below so you keep up to date on any new uploads. But for now, that's me done. I'll see you in the next one.